Always feel like Bob Barker when I do this. Sorry for any handling noise. But this microphone, the Deity S-MIC-3, surprised me a little bit. I mean, price alone should make your ears perk up, but when I started playing around with it and putting it up against some of my favorite shotgun mics, namely the MKH-416 and the Rode NTG3, I was taken back a bit. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's take a look at what this thing offers if you were to pick one up, starting with the build quality. And, I mean, it does come well packaged and it looks fantastic to unbox. The wood box that it comes in does look nice, but it isn't overly garish. It's obviously there just to protect the microphone. And of course, the usual stuff comes with it. Now, I do have to say, an unbranded nose is kind of a rare sight these days, which is interesting because on the box, it shows a branded nose. I'm wondering if I got ripped off by Deity. Otherwise, the mic itself is exactly what you would expect. It's a shotgun microphone, no real surprises. There is one thing that does stand out when you get hands-on with it though, and that's the weight. This thing is substantially lighter than any other shotgun microphone I've ever handled. Dramatically lighter, in fact. The S-MIC-3 is just 80 grams, which is half the weight of the NTG3 and less than a sixth of the weight of the chonker MKH-416. Now, for some of you, you may be thinking, well, so what? But for those sound techs in the field with one of these on a boom pole, 80 grams sounds like a dream. Now, how they got that dramatic drop in weight is quite interesting. You see, the body is all aluminum alloy, and apparently they dropped a bunch of the shielding, which is a choice. That said, I am in a less than ideal setup, and I've yet to pick anything unwanted up. No noise whatsoever. And just going by their website, they do mention that the body was designed to suppress radio frequency interference. And without any conflicting evidence, I'm going to have to assume they're much smarter at engineering their gear than I am. Because they are. As for the specs on this, the Deity S-MIC-3, it's very much competitive with the best in the field. This thing is a supercardioid mic, which is a bit different from the MKH-416, which is a hypercardioid. That said, Deity is boasting 18 dB of off-axis suppression. We're going to look into that in a bit with our tests. It also has self-noise of 12 dB, which knocks a dB off from both the Sennheiser and the Rode. And sensitivity is similar to the MKH-416, which is a touch less sensitive than the NTG3. Let's take a look at the off-axis rejection of the Deity S-MIC-3. This is me speaking directly into the front of the capsule from about 6 inches away. Now I'm going to move around to the side of the capsule, and you're going to hear a difference in how it's picking up my voice and probably the tonality of it as well. Now we're going to move around to the rear of the capsule, and you're going to notice maybe just a little bit of sensitivity as I get to the rear. And now we're going to move it back around to the side of the capsule. And once again, the tonality shift, and we're going to get around to the front of the capsule, and I'm going to end at about 6 inches. Now let's take a look at the clown nose to see how much it might filter out. This is me speaking into the front of the capsule from about 8 inches away without the clown nose on. A little bit of ASMR for you kids. Put that on there. Okay. I'm actually going to pull it off. Okay. Now this is me speaking into the capsule from about 8 inches away with the clown nose on. Clown nose off and clown nose on. Now let's take a look at the performance of the mic over a little bit of distance. This is me speaking directly into the front of the capsule from about 6 to 8 inches away. Now I'm speaking directly into the capsule from about 1.5 feet away, and this is what it sounds like. Now I'm speaking directly into the front of the capsule from about 2.5 feet away, and this is what the Deity S-MIC-3 sounds like. Now you might notice a little bit more room, and I wanted to do an outside test, but it was raining today, and well, I don't want to get all my gear wet, or me. So this is 2.5 feet away. Now let's do some comparisons with the Deity S-MIC-3 up against the Synco Mic D2, and this is what it sounds like as I go between them. This is an extremely cheap shotgun microphone, but you might notice it's a little harsher in some of the frequencies, and it might not sound quite as good as this, the Deity S-MIC-3. This, once again, being the Deity S-MIC-3, and this, once again, being the Synco Mic D2. Now we have two very different sounding mics. We have the Deity S-MIC-3 up against the Rode NTG3. This is one of my favorite mics. Dylan's been using this to shoot videos on his channel. Got a pronounced low end and a little bit in the low mids as well. Well, this Deity S-MIC-3 is a little bit more balanced throughout. What do you like or dislike about the sounds between these two microphones? Remember, all mics are EQ'd after the fact. So which one do you like with that in mind between the Deity S-MIC-3 and the Rode NT-G3? This is the one I'm really looking forward to. This is the Deity S-MIC-3 up against the MKH-416 from Sennheiser. This is my daily driver. This is the one that I do all my talking heads with. This is the one, it usually requires the least amount of EQ with my voice. And most of the time I just throw it up without EQ, with the exception of some de-esser. And this is what it sounds like as I'm going back and forth between the Deity S-MIC-3 and the Sennheiser MKH-416. Which one do you like as I go between them? This is $999. This one is $399. Let's talk about that in the whole wrap up of this video. Okay, so this microphone, the Deity S-MIC-3, has me delightfully surprised. But don't get me wrong. This has some characteristics that make it sound pretty good when it's up against the stiff competition of the MKH-416 and the NT-G3. But it doesn't sound the same. Yes, it's very natural sounding. There's nothing really alarming jumping out at me. And yes, it sounds pretty good for its price. But I think I like how Dylan summed up this mic. It doesn't sound like the MKH-416, but it also doesn't sound like it is less than half the price of the MKH-416. And I think that's important to note because price to performance is one of the most important attributes when considering gear. And this microphone, the Deity S-MIC-3, outperforms its price. Again, for $399, this is an impressive showing from Deity. And considering this is my first time dancing with them, now I'm curious to see more. I will tell you though, the weight alone on this, if you're looking for something on the end of your boom pole, why do I always make it weird? Okay, this might be your huckleberry. Let me know what you think down below though. Cheers guys, and thanks for watching.